are now in the presence of a king.
You know, I love that intro, right?
Yeah, I like it as well.
Hey, everybody. Look, I'm sorry I'm not on camera. It's just that I've had a real rough day. I'm kind of just here. Mark reminded me that we haven't been on in a while, and we were going to forward our next show for 2 weeks because uh, our showrunner is going to a Renaissance fair. But we felt it was kind of unfair that we haven't been on for a little bit. And Mark, you had this wonderful idea of talking about collections, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I was gonna say because being at the Yester Toys event today, I saw all of everybody's collections, especially people walking around and adding to their collections, and it just reminded me, everybody's got pretty much some type of collections. You can see part of my collection right behind me of my hats. But there's other things that I love to collect. I know there's things that you want to like to collect. So I just wanted to take a few minutes just to discuss collections, what everybody's into, what got you into collecting, stuff like that. So yeah, that's why I figured we just take maybe a few minutes. You can
yeah.
tell a little bit about your collection, and I'll tell a little bit about my collection.
All right. Well, today, as Mark stated, we did the Toys uh, annual bazaar, and this was an opportunity to get out there, meet people, talk to people. That's one thing I do love about being over towards Just the Toys is that I get all these opportunities to meet different people. So I get to network a lot. And I can't thank Jim enough for that opportunity. I mean, it's just one of those great things that I get to do. Now, the second best thing about that is I'm surrounded by everything that I love, from Star Wars to DC, uh, to uh, a little bit of Marvel. I can't front. I can't lie and act like, oh, I don't like Marvel. For those of you who's heard me, I give Marvel a hard time because one, it people love drama. People love that, that one guy that's trying to be the heel, if you will. But there are certain things that like Marvel. I like Brave New World. I like Thunderbolts. I thought those were two good, two great movies. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're not burning up the movie charts, but I thought they were passable movies. So today I had a bunch of Star Wars stuff set out there, and I met so many people who needed like little bits and pieces to finish off their collection. And it was amazing to me because I too have fallen into this trap of lightsabers. I don't know what it is about lightsabers that Keel had a lightsaber. He had a Galaxy's Edge lightsaber, and I found out that it wasn't power and control. It was peace and something else. It was for a blue lightsaber. So I have the crystal here with me, but I've got all the crystals. So I was like, which one do I really want to put in here? And I thought about it. I'm like, when I go to Galaxy's Edge, I want to make a Jedi saber, and I want to make a Sith saber. So I've already got the Jedi saber, although I put a Sith crystal in it. So when I do go next year, I am going to make one. But it's like, that and my Star Wars collection. I had to stop collecting certain things from Star Wars and go strictly to just Mandalorian stuff. But I still have my favorite things, which is of course Han Solo Frozen in Carbonite.
Mm.
For some reason, I love those things. We had a Slave One there, and my God, man, I was like, oh, please don't nobody buy this. I want to take this bad boy home with me. Of course, somebody bought it. We had a Millennium Falcon. Somebody bought it. Um, we had B Wings. We had two B Wings. We still got one. It's at the shop right now. The Rebel Transport got bought. A Wing got bought. Y Wing got bought. And Rob actually said, "Hey, all the pieces are here." I'm like, "No, they're not." He goes, "Yeah, they are. They're right here." As soon as Rob put it together, it was gone. Now, which was funny because I still didn't get. I was going to take some of those DC characters out there, but we had so many people that had, DC characters and all these other characters, so it didn't make sense. And then you came along, and I was like, Mark, check this out. Got Mace Windu's lightsaber, and you were
Oh,
like, yeah, I might have to get that. I'm like, yeah, you better hurry.
yeah,
Um, it was great, you know what I mean? You got to see everybody's with what they really liked, what they had, and one guy was filming us as we were doing it. He was, trying to get the best deal he could for himself and everything else, which was cool. That's one thing I do like about Yes for Toys, though. They don't try to gouge your prices. So, I didn't try to, overprice stuff and make it crazy. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Just
absolutely.
because people see that stuff. They see it all the time and it kills me. They see the fact that, ooh, well, on eBay it's going for, well, it's not really, that's not how we do it. It's what it sold for that day and in a couple days before that, and what it's sold for, not by what somebody is saying. Hey, it's worth $120. No, that's what they're selling it for. It
Yeah,
might only sold for 50 or $60. But it was nice to see, like you said, all these people um, with their collections. We got Taco Cat in here.
oh yeah,
Hi, everyone. Star Wars toys are popular. Yeah, but you know what? They weren't that popular. I would have to say Revenge of the Sith made Star Wars popular again because we weren't selling anything Star Wars. Jim had actually said, hey, we're gonna have to, cut the Star Wars section down. I'm like, but that's me. That's my section. I'm a Star Wars guy. What are we doing here? You know, and, um, so Revenge of the Sith, and then of course our May 4th sale was booming.
yeah,
Everybody wanted loose figures and guns and weapons, and we had tons of it. This time turn around, the ships actually sold, which was great, but we had a great selection of ships. You
yeah.
know, I can't even say that. I mean, if I would have had the room, I would have loved, or and the money, I would have loved to have been able to get a few things. Um, Jim got a Rancor. I have one that another customer bought from me from last time, and he actually finished using it and goes, "Here you go, Calibus. I want you to have it." And I was like, "What?"
Wow.
So, a lot of things worked out, but collection wise, man, it's still Star Wars, Mandalorian stuff, lightsabers now, which I still just can't fan them, and my Batman stuff. It
Okay.
used to be Star Trek. Star Trek used to be heavy on the list. Don't get me wrong. If I see a Constitution class starship, that's it. I gotta have it. Um, Mainly now, um, to pay off some of the debt in the cosmic portal, the Admiral gets her pick of what we have Star Wars. I mean Star Trek
Yay.
first. And I'm like, all right, Big L, this is what we got left, brother. What do you want? You know what I mean? Um, but you know, it's weird, like you said, when you said collections, I was like, man, that's something we can do because we're all still collecting this stuff. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
absolutely. Oh,
And
absolutely.
yeah, yeah, it's just so weird, because I mean, there's a few times you show up and I'm like, yeah, Mark, I like that hat and the shirt to go with it, and then you have the watch sometimes to match with everything else, and I'm sitting there like, I gotta step my game up, you know what I mean? So, it's just been a great experience, but I also have to say, like when we go to Convivial, I'm not in collector's mode, which is weird. You know what I
True.
mean?
I definitely
And
understand
then
that. Yeah.
but they always have something like, our main stuff, of course, are our figures and everything else. But when Convivial comes around, it's more of like, hey, they have your role playing needs here.
Yeah. They
You
have a lot
remember
of
we?
unique stuff. Yeah, because I love
Mhm.
that sword that lady had with the
Yes,
dice
I was getting ready to say that with the dice in it. Yeah.
was fantastic.
Yeah, I reached out to her, but I think I told her that she said it's getting kind of hectic. If you can contact me back in so and so time, and I was like, yeah, I'll do that. So I'll have to try to reach out to her again because she had a Rick and Morty set of dice
Yeah.
that I really really wanted. And it's crazy because as you know, we're getting ready to start back up um our role playing game. Unfortunately, Vincent will be going to the uh, to the Renaissance Fair
Yes.
next weekend. So the following weekend is when I'm going to schedule our first return game back. You as Beta 99 and J19. Hopefully, it might be around June 19th.
That'll
So
work.
yeah, you know what I mean? A
Yeah,
big
that's
celebration.
perfect.
But let's talk about your collection, Mr. Lego, Mr. Lightsabers, and your little models and your hats. I mean, hit me up with it. Let me know.
All right. So yeah, like I said, everybody can see my hats behind me. I think I started collecting hats probably about 15 years ago. Going to Disney, I would just pick out hats, and then whenever we go to a con, I started buying hats based on shirts that I would see at the con. So I buy the hats. I have a shirt that matches, and then I guess probably maybe about 10 years ago, I started collecting watches. So still, I started at Disney, but then I've moved to other places that I collect watches from. Most of my watches now come from Invicta, and they're character watches. So it'll be Star Wars, it'll be I do have a Star Trek watch that I did pick up when I went to the Star Trek convention. I just don't have a shirt that matches it, but I have a hat that'll match the watch. Um, and other than that, I have DC. I have a few Marvel watches because I have Marvel shirts and I have Marvel hats, so I do have some Marvel watches that'll match that. And then I have little figures that I've collected as well because I have a huge DVD collection, probably about 1,200 physical DVDs. And I was buying the ones that had the figures inside them. So I have the figures plus the movies. And sometimes if the figure came out, a different figure come out, I would buy both movies so that I could have both figures. So I have quite a few DVD movies in my collection. They actually run the whole hallway, walking down the hall in my house. And then I started doing Lego. So I only do Star Wars Legos for the most part. I do have the Batman Batmobile, which is a Technic Batmobile that lights up. That was quite fun to put together. I've never done a Technic Batmobile or a Technic anything, so that was different. And then when it comes to my Legos, of course, I have a Millennium Falcon. I have Kylo Ren's ship. I have, what is it? C3PO, R2D2. Uh, who else? I have two X-Wings. I have a TIE fighter. I have two TIE fighters. and then I have a few helmets that I also have put together as well. Um, I try to limit myself because I can sit down and do it in about 3 days. You know, putting them together. I try to do maybe 2 bags a day just so it spreads out. And I have a Chewbacca. I'm not sure how tall it is, but I haven't put that together yet. I probably would do that in August. Give myself a little bit of time because when I open a box, I don't want to have anybody, especially my daughter's dog, because she likes to sit on my lap, and I don't want to make sure she doesn't mess with anything. So when I put it together, she won't be able to come over to the house until it's done. So that'll be the last one that I have going forward. And then, just like you, Calibus, I collect lightsabers. I did get the Mace Windu lightsaber today. I think I have about 5 lightsabers. I have a flashlight lightsaber. I have a, what do you call it, spatula for the outside. And then I have tongs that is a lightsaber that I've never used it to touch any meat, but they are lightsabers. So I have quite a few of those. And I want to also mention my wife's collection because she collects Barbies. So she's been doing that 96 since 96. And we have a hallway full of Barbies. Plus, we have actually, we have 3 totes full of Barbies because 5 totes because we can't display them all. So, once we get the new ones, she'll have them out for a little while. Then she'll put the older ones in totes and put the new ones out. So, and we have quite a few things that we collect. Trying to figure out where to put these things is so hard. So, I mean, my hats are behind me, but other than that, I bought a shelf that has most of my Legos on it, and that's completely full. And the lightsabers are just standing up. I had one on the wall that got too heavy, I guess, and it fell. But I do have a Yoda lightsaber. I have the Mace Windu. I have a Kylo Ren, and then I have my personal. I have two um, lightsabers that you can duel with. The other ones are just for show, so I don't let anybody hit them with anything, but you can at least look at them. So that's most of my collection right there.
Yeah, that's I was looking at my collection and I was like, wow. So I've got both dark sabers, one from the Disney park and then the one from Rebels, the silver or the gray one. Then I have my Revan, and now I have the Disney Build a Saber. So I was like, okay, that's cool, but now I need to put them up on the wall or something because I don't want mine just what I mean, like you said. And what makes me mad was I had took all my Star Wars stuff down, not all of it, like 3 shelves full, just to put Batman stuff up. And now my Star Wars collection is starting to peel all over onto the floors, onto the walls over there, and I'm like, I got to do something. So I've got to do another major rehaul of what I want out, and
Yeah,
it really sucks because Galaxy's Edge always comes out with something new every like little thing, starting with the May 4th event. And then, of course, there'll be something in the fall that they'll be doing something new and da 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 da. I noticed that they changed up a couple of their things, and Miss Liz brought back a Nyx, that big cat with all those teeth.
oh yes, yes, she
And
did.
I swear to you, man, I'm sitting there going, I know I don't want it. I know I don't want it. Until I heard it purr and growl. I was like, oh,
Yeah, she's picked up some nice stuff when she goes down there.
oh yeah, always, man. Plus they've got the new holotrons that are out.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, all they are, they're different colors and stuff, but still, it'd be nice, to have something to do. And that was another thing that I really like to do. I like to like buy all my knickknacks from people that already are either going there, or if I truly, truly want it bad enough, I'll get it from a smuggler. But now that they opened up the Disney store, You
Yeah,
know what I mean? You can get it a
yeah,
little bit cheaper without having to pay the, I mean, I know that's hurting the smuggling game because, but at the same time, I don't want to pay all that extra money when I can go straight to Disney and still get a warranty. If something breaks, I can just contact Disney and Disney will, ship it back and, get me a new one
absolutely.
versus, with a smuggler, it is what it is. You know what I mean? They're not going to go back and get you a brand new one for that price. You're gonna have to, but I do love it. I do love the collecting and everything else, and I think now I'm having to be a little bit more selective. Like I said, I've got to redo the whole room, um, and really clean up some stuff. Because like you, I have a Lego Millennium Falcon, and now I gotta vacuum it and dust it off a little bit, and that in itself is a dangerous thing because if something falls off, I gotta take it back to Larry to get it fixed.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely correct about that. I know with mine, I mean, I did mine myself, but I've noticed when I open it, there are some pieces that have come off, and I should have taken the time, maybe glue it so it doesn't have that doesn't happen. I love yours because you have lights in it. I didn't do that part, so that's one thing I wish I had done. Put the light
Man,
so it lights up.
I'm gonna tell you, I love it. I barely turn them bad boys on. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Because I know me. You know what I mean? Um, but and she told me where the switch was, and I was kind of like, I really kind of wish you wouldn't have showed me all that because So now I'm gonna be conservative about what I do when I turn it on and everything.
oh yeah,
But those things. You guys got me into the Lego stuff. You guys got me into that. So I've got the Lego X-wing, and when you push the R2, no, you push the button and the wings pop open into the X position.
yes.
Um, I love it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then I got the N1 fighter, and I've got the Mandalorian head, and I'm just running out of space. And then let's not even talk about the damn Funko Pops, man.
I didn't bring that up, but yeah.
They started out because I kept saying to myself, if I can't afford to get a Black Series figure or whatever, at least I can get the Funko Pops because they were what, $14 cheaper
Oh yeah,
than buying the figure. And now I've got so many of those damn things, uh, I can't do anything with them. So um, I kind of stopped with the Funko stuff. Kind of went back to the figures, but only certain ones. Like I said, only Mandalorian stuff, unless something else really comes out that's a little bit better. But now I heard that Jedi Survivor is coming out and it's called Jedi Master. So now Kyle Kestis has a trilogy of video games.
oh man.
My wife beat them. She's beat them. I think she no, she stopped playing one game to go play Dreamlight Valley. And I'm like, you were this badass gamer who's out there, conquering worlds and beating Sith only to go play with Mickey Mouse. Get back over there. Get back over there and because I can't do it. I can't do all that jumping around, climbing and catch the wind and flip over. I can't do any of that. That's what
that was
made me mad about Prince of Persia. I couldn't
that was
stand
gonna
it.
say Prince of Persia because you had to stop time while jumping so that you can catch on to the water, while it froze, do a few flips so you can climb the mountain. And I was like, that got monotonous. I mean, I played it, I loved it, and I played hours and hours of that. I also did, which I love, was what's her name?
Laura Croft?
Yeah, Tomb Raider. I love
Yeah.
Tomb Raider, and I even did the guy version, which was what was that? Ah,
Oh God. I thought it was like Nathan something.
yeah, whatever, because he was a the Peter Parker played him in the movie.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I bought my son that game. He beat it within a week. And then he goes, Dad, let's trade it in. And I'm looking at him like, you better go beat that game on hard.
yeah, that was a fun game though, and I thought it was funny because you have to do everything has to be a headshot because if you hit them in the arm, now they're going to warn the other people. So
Yep.
I was like, you got really good at headshots. So I love that game. And like I said, Tomb Raider was always a lot of fun. You just
Yeah.
had to remember the puzzles, especially climbing the wall. I was like, she never walked on the ground. That was the only thing I thought about. But yeah, that was part of stuff that I used to love to play. And I did do Final Fantasy. I played that for a while. And then when Disney came out with their version using the same characters, it was okay. My daughter loved it, but I just couldn't. I couldn't do that for so. I played every now and then, but I just didn't get into that game.
It's hard to get into some of those games. Like,
Yeah.
now, um, I ran into a friend of mine and he was like, "Yo, man, we used to play Diablo all the time and we used to do this." And I'm like, "Yeah, we did, and some of the older Star Wars games. But there's a game that I'm telling you that you should get. It's called Star Trek Resurgency, and it's basically like a choose your own adventure type thing.
Okay.
You and Vonda would get into that. You don't need anybody else playing. Well, you can't get anybody else playing with you, but you can just keep on. You know what I mean? It's you versus your decisions that you make.
Okay.
It's a look. I played the game twice because it took me a week to beat it, and then I went back and started choosing the path I didn't choose,
Mhm.
and yeah, it didn't work out so well. But it was fun. Plus I love the games that can immerse you into that role of that character. I'm a Starfleet officer, and you know, you play as the first officer, um, and you get to play as other roles of other officers on there. So you're not just stuck with one. 1 minute you'll be playing a female officer, the next minute you'll be playing a male officer, 1 minute you'll be playing uh, an engineer. And it's just crazy. It's really wild and crazy, but it's a great game for
Okay.
the nice low price that it's on right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh, Definitely something that you guys can get into, and of course, there's always Star Wars Squadrons for you whenever
You
you
don't
get a
have the
chance to play
games.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, look, man, on Xbox you can get it for like $3, and I was like, wow, that just hurts. Seeing,
True that.
you know what I mean?
And I
Two
played
ninety
it.
nine game.
Yeah, I was thinking because I played it. Well, Vonda bought it for me when it first came out, so that was $50 at that time.
Yep.
And I played it a few times. I've just never played with anybody online. I just go and play just by myself. So maybe I'll take a look and try to fly with you guys sometime, as
Oh
long as
man,
I have
that'd
the
be
free
great.
time.
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest with you, we only play like 2 or 3 games, which is like basically an hour, if that. Half the time it's, can everybody hear us? Yeah, can you hear me? No, I can't hear anybody. I can't hear we hear you. Well, can you guys hear me? Okay, then you're messaging back and forth, and when you finally get on, depending on where certain people are, if you're not at a certain level, you can't get experience points until this person passes like level 5 or
Oh
something like that.
wow!
But then after that, but still, it's still a great game when you're all in your own ships doing what you got to do. And with Rob wanting to always be the Imperials, it's always great because you get to switch it up, do what you got to do, and then um, again, we have a ball doing it. You got that invite, but you
Okay,
need to get that game for her. Star Trek Resurgency. She will love it.
all right, I'll
It's
look into
choose
that.
your own. Yeah, it's a choose your own adventure type deal, and the choices you make, whether you want to fall in love or do whatever. Remember, you're on a starship. There are dangers in space. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, but I thought today was great, man. I really appreciate you coming out there, you and Rob hanging with me. Um, Throughout all that, and then just sharing the love of camaraderie and just being out there and seeing all the massive stuff that everyone had.
Yeah. Thanks for
Yeah,
the invite as well. And yeah, every time I go there, I gotta stick to my guns, because you can spend a lot of money out there. I'm glad I got the lightsaber. That table with all the buckets, unreal. I mean, totally
that
unreal.
was the toy locker.
Yeah,
That is the toy locker, and Keel runs the toy locker.
that was
And you
unreal.
know, I was like, Keel, you're killing me.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
like, yeah. He's like, yeah, you want some of that, don't you? And I was like, man, I don't have enough money in the world to keep, you know what I mean? He had all those buckets because what Axe wants to do, Axe wants to actually take his VR headset, his PlayStation 4 headset, and mount it inside a Rebel pilot's helmet to
Wow.
get the real feel for it. You know what I mean? And I kind of want to do it myself because I've got a flight stick, but then my PlayStation 4 will only be for squadrons. You know
Oh,
what I mean? And
yeah.
uh, that's a little hard for me to do right now, but believe me, if I get an extra bucket, I think I'll do it. You know what I mean? Just to have that over there, because there are two games I love. In Battlefront 2, you get to play the mission that brings Jan Urso to uh Yavin.
Okay.
So you're a flight of X-wings guarding uh the U-wing,
Hmm.
and the Star Destroyer comes up right behind you, and all of a sudden you got ties flying at you out of nowhere. Man, it's a great game. It's
That
a
sounds
great game.
fantastic.
I will have to try to like bring in that convivial stuff and let you guys play it while we're sitting there at the table or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when you did that last year, that was fun too, though.
Right?
That was awesome. So yeah, definitely bring it again.
Yeah, we'll try that. We'll try to do that.
All right.
All right, guys, look, we done hit the 32-minute mark. Me and Mark wanted to keep it brief, but this was something that we needed to get out there and let you know that the Blerds are here, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with uh the Paladins report on the Renaissance Fair. Let me get that out there. I
Yeah,
think
can't
that'll
wait
be
to see
interesting.
that.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I want to do the Pirate Festival that either I think it already passed though.
It was yesterday and today. We went
Ah,
yesterday, but it rained on and off. We got out
mm,
there, started raining, so then we immediately left. Then it cleared up, so we didn't get a chance to really experience it like we normally do.
right,
But hopefully next year it won't rain because this year was kind
right.
of a bust. People were running when it started raining and stuff like that. So we really didn't get a chance to see a lot of anything.
Well, I definitely want to check it out. That and the Renaissance Fair, but we'll see what Paladin has to say. Guys, we appreciate you being here. I am, of course, Calibus Rand. With me is the DC reviewer, Mr. Marky Mark, general manager of the Cosmic Portal. And we want to thank all of you who showed up at the Toy Bazaar today and all of you who are watching us now. Thank you. And we appreciate you guys liking and subscribing and checking us out. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Of course, what is it? Blood, Fire, and Steel will be coming out this Wednesday with our new show. And
You're gonna
I
do
think
Star Trek Tuesday.
yes, I do. Me and Vonda, the Admiral and the Klingon will be back on Tuesday doing their Star Trek review. Of course, we're still in TNG. I kind of wish we would have did TOS first, but you know what? I can always do TOS. We could always bump off Enterprise and do TOS right after Voyager, and then go back to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But yeah, uh, it's always a blast getting to talk some Trek. And speaking of that, there is a bat left still over at Yestertoys. So if there's any Klingons out there that need a weapon, go to Yestertoys. You can find it there. All right, guys, that'll do it for us. Look, there's Simon.
I was
Look at
gonna say.
Simon, you'll be in bed by the time we do our show,
I
sir.
know.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We would love to have you there. Of course, Bishop keeps saying that he's going to make it, he's going to make it, and he never does. So, you know, but it is what it is. So, guys, so Tuesday we have Trek Tuesday with the Admiral and the Klingon. Wednesday we have Blood, Fire, and Steel, and all those great things in between. Of course, you see me every day, Monday through Friday, when I talk about Yestertoy, so you'll be seeing me. And I actually, like I said, I have a couple other little announcements coming up this week, so stay tuned for that. Marky Mark, when will we be seeing the DC reviewer?
Well, I got another little segment I wanted to start doing where I'm going to just talk about certain characters. And the first character I want to discuss is Christopher Chance, or the Human Target. So, probably sometime this week, I will do a short little video about that character. So, I want to do characters that people don't know about in DC. And I'm going to start
Oh,
with
nice.
him because I liked that character. I thought he was a really interesting one. I enjoyed the TV show, which was different from the actual comic book, but that's who I'm going to go with first. Christopher Chance, the Human Target.
Nice. All right, guys. We'll definitely catch you sometime this week. Look for us, like and subscribe, and definitely comment and let us know how you're liking the show. We will see you next week. Well, actually, in 2 weeks after the Renaissance Fair.
Yeah.
Have a good